Hello, this is what 12, 11, 12 remark concerning business immorality and corporate social irresponsibility, series of remarks, and this one concerns culture, business, and global corporate social responsibility. Well, this is interesting, at least in terms that this could show opposite case to the previous one, in the previous remark, in which we shortly described the situation in business concerning European influence on European cultures and European businesses. Okay. Now, the problem is this opposite case is in fact quite and I will only go to it shortly. It concerns, and it's about I wrote a series of notes concerning this issue of relation of culture and business, and I don't know, perhaps one day I should write a book about it. Yeah, but I don't know what to claim. Okay, this issue is quite specific, this topic, because we had, let's see, in the previous remark we had a situation in which culture determined businesses that operates within it. Now we have a case of a business determining a culture in which it operates. Now this relation also obviously goes both ways. So this other way of influence, good or bad, we shall see, should be described as well. The point is quite simple. The point is that, as I said in this entry for Encyclopedia of CSR, Culture, Business and Global CSR, this is the title of the entry. Now we have two phenomena and two realities. One is the reality of a local culture, and the other reality is the reality of a corporate culture of a particular corporation. Now, multinational, transnational, international corporations have, in many cases, their headquarters in their states. For instance, American multinational corporations have only their headquarters in the United States. Nothing else is in the United States. Everything else is somewhere else. So production, sales, everything is somewhere else, all around the world. So they have to have a certain set of standard practices when they operate in different local cultures. And this set of standard practices, in fact, manifest their corporate culture. There is no corporate culture besides this manifestation. Or there could be a kind of nice, beautifully written text called Corporate Culture of Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta Corporation. But this is completely irrelevant document if it doesn't correspond or in any other way is related, closely related and interdependent with what their practices manifest. That's it. So we should speak about what their practices manifest, and only further on we can compare that to what they say about what they do. Now we have this kind of issue that the corporation is entering a particular culture, and why a corporation is operating in a different culture, not in its own culture of its origin. Well, for economic reasons. Workforce is cheaper, that's it. So this is I don't know, we have a series of multinationals examples like Nike and similar. Okay, Everybody knows almost everything relevant about it, so I shouldn't repeat it here. I would like to say something about the general problem, more general, more abstract, and in a way, problem that is in different ways, in different cases, almost identically or quite similarly manifested throughout all of these cases. The idea is that we have some kind of possible ways of influencing a local culture by corporation. This is the idea. Now, for one thing, multinational corporations are economically more powerful than cultures in which they operate. So they have a dominant position. We have, in the last few years, we have different examples from different Latin American states, but nevertheless, most frequent examples are completely different concerning the nature of workforce in different parts of the world. However, if this is the case, and this is the case, then in order to create a kind of rule, a kind of standard practice, a kind of policy, how to act, how to do things on this level of multinational corporation entering in a particular culture and operating there, is a question of some kind of international body or international institution, organization which should create or at least coordinate some kind of process of determining such rules. But there is not such body. There is no such institution. For instance, ideas like global compact, ideas like human rights, organizations like United Nations, etc., cannot do that. No, they don't do that, and they cannot do that. So local cultures and multinational corporations are left on their own. They can do as they like. And this creates a series of issues. There are at least two major strategies concerning the relation between multinational corporation doing business in a particular local culture. And this is a standard way, or something like a standard way of explaining this relation. These are three relations, three types. The last one is our suggestion. And it says the following. It says, the first is a company and a local culture, and then you have a company which in a way covers the local culture and completely shapes its basic standard practices, determine, change their practice, their way of life, change their language, all the symbols, all the features of the culture. So one cannot say, yeah, we have the same culture, we are still the same people. No, you're not. You have different language, you have different symbols, you have different daily routines, you have different set of preferences, different set of values, different set of life goals, I don't know, different view. Your own view of your life is completely changed by a multinational corporation. And this is a kind of aggressive way of entering a local culture. Another way is that you have a kind of, okay, again, a company, a local culture, and then you have some kind of modification. So a company, multinational corporation, accommodates its strategy to the kind of parameters or features or characteristics, shape of a local culture. And it changes local culture, but also it allows a local culture to change herself, a corporation. Therefore, both are changed in order to create as much benefit for all sides included as possible, you know. And this is kind of, if the first strategy is global strategy, so you have standard rules and you apply them without exceptions to all local cultures in which you do your business. This is a global or aggressive strategy. And this second type of strategy is some kind of adjustment strategy. So you adjust a bit, but you change local culture a bit. Okay, adjusting what to what? This is the question. And the third possibility is to have, again, you have a company, you have a local culture, and then it is not the case the result is two entities, culture and corporation, which are slightly changed in order to create benefits. No, the result is a new kind of entity, which is a fine mixture in a way between corporate culture of a multinational and a local culture. So something completely new is in fact created. A new child is born. Okay, so this is perhaps the way in which it should be done, and this is important. And so the question is, how should multinationals act if their motive is as it is? Their motive is simply, we want to make more money. And if you think about it in the long term, then in fact you will not make more money long term. You will lose money. That's the point. Because this series of quite bad results, bad effects that you created by changing the local culture, shaping it according to your own global strategy, will reflect on you in the future. This is the point. So the other adjustment strategy is often applied by some multinationals. Well, this also creates a problem because local culture adjusts itself in accordance or adjust itself with corporate culture. And corporate cultures do that as well, concerning the local culture. Well, now this is the issue. You have a multinational corporation which have a series of corporate cultures that are in fact completely different, and the differences, the similarities between these cultures, in fact, reflects the similarities between local cultures in which a multinational operates, and this is costly. So there is a kind of economic reason why one should consider this as perhaps morally okay, but economically it's not a rational thing to do. The most rational thing to do is to find a middle ground, this third strategy. So it's mutually transactional strategy. This is kind of term for that. So it should be said that a multinational still has its own kind of basic strategic pattern of its culture, corporate culture. And the local culture also preserves its basic pattern. But insofar as these two meet and collaborate in a particular organization, particular unit in which a multinational is operating within a local culture, a kind of mixture, kind of new corporate culture is invented. And this corporate culture is invented in a way that it produces benefits long term for both sides included and preserves their basic cultural values and practices. So this is the basic idea. This is the basic idea in which CSR should be authentically manifested and CSI should be avoided. But it is not clear, after all, it is not clear in which way and what should be counted as CSR and CSI, because, as I said, still we have few series of quite important, quite interesting, quite sometimes even humorous ideas concerning global ethics. You know, global this ethical, global that ethical. Well, it's easy to say that. It's easy to say, but another thing is to do something like that. Consider, for instance, case of International Criminal Court or United Nations Global Compact. Well, these cases speak for themselves. I should not enter these cases. Everybody should research for themselves and see there is real results. Now, the idea is good, but to achieve something like that is something completely different. It's very hard to do that, and this cannot be done if there is no kind of methodology, or how should I say it, while which all sides that are included, that should be included in reaching a particular model of how to do that, should be introduced and should be, in a way, collaborating on creating such model. And then all sides included should be taken responsible if they don't apply such model. And this third strategy, mutually transactional strategy, as I suggested in this entry, is some kind of idea of this methodology which should be applied. So this trying to preserve both multinational corporation, corporate culture, and local culture. This is the idea. How should we do it? And now, particularly how this should be done, it's quite complicated. But after all, it includes at least serious negotiations between a multinational and a local community. Perhaps a state, perhaps organizations within state, perhaps representatives of local community, all the stakeholders that are included. So this is quite important. And then perhaps this can move towards something which could be regarded as a kind of corporate socially responsible practice, Yeah. Nowadays, we have a series of CSI activities in this particular way. So let me return to the beginning of influencing multinationals, local cultures, and we have a series of quite ethically so profound ethical considerations concerning this matter, which do not address what is important. Do not address this issue that some kind of criterion needs to be found, and it cannot be created by anybody else, but only by all sides that are potentially included in such relations. And they should decide to do that themselves. Nobody else can do that for them. That's it. And this background concerning the aspect of power, of dominance of corporations over local cultures, and powerlessness in a way of international institutions over multinationals, etc. And this all political and military and all other aspects of international level, multinational, international level of international politics should be also included, because this is a case when we move from particular cases in particular companies toward the international and transnational level. So this is quite complicated, and it should be studied and applied thoroughly, and should be done by all sides, including nobody should be left out, because all stakeholders should be included in order to create, say, at least some kind of minimal common ground, minimal way of acting that should be followed by all sides. Well, so much about this opposite side of influence of business on culture, contrary to the previous remark in which the influence of what was described as influence of culture on business. And now we come to the end. In fact, what is left is only a last remark concerning the, in fact, answer to the question, what is business ethics and CSR? So we now, in the light of this what 12 remarks, we should answer to this simple question: what is business ethics and corporate social responsibility? Well, that's it. Thank you.